Hi everyone, and welcome back to Especially Rich and to Geopolitical Report podcast. Today we have a friend, a colleague, and also a guest, Simona Scotti from Baku, Azerbaijan. Hi Simona.
Hi, Giuliano. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be hosted at your podcast.
Simona Scotti is a senior researcher at Top Chubarkov Center in Baku, Azerbaijan. Her research interests cover security, geopolitics, and energy in the South Caucasus, European Union-South Caucasus relation, and Turkish foreign policy. And today, with Simona, we would like to discuss some topics, issues related to Azerbaijan and to its economic strategies in the Caspian Sea and in Central Asia. First of all, how are you, Simona? Everything is fine?
Everything is great, Giuliano. Thank you. How are you?
Everything is fine. It's a long week, and even though in Italy tomorrow will be an holiday, but we are still working because, as you know, there was this important visit from Emomali Rahmon from Tajikistan to Italy, and he met Giorgia Meloni and Mattarella, and we are following all these, geopolitical dynamics in Central Asia and also in the South Caucasus. I would like to discuss with you, first of all, the current status of Azerbaijan economy and, your opinion and your insight regarding the fact if the country has achieved success in economic diversification.
So I think it cannot be argued that Azerbaijan has achieved success in economic diversification. The country is still heavily reliant on hydrocarbons, and oil and gas constitute the main goods that are exported. If we look at the data from 2023, we can see that Azerbaijan exported in total $34 billion of goods, and non-oil or gas goods amounted to only $3.3 billion approximately, which amounts to less than 10% of the total amount. So there is a bigger problem for the country because hydrocarbons will not last forever. The reserves will extinguish sooner or later, and so it is fundamental for the country to take steps in order to diversify its economy. So even though the non-oil and gas goods are a very small amount of the total goods that are exported, from the data that I have been observing, I could see that in the past 4 years, the number of non-oil and gas goods have doubled the amount of the exports. For example, in 2020, they amounted to only $1.8 billion. And as I mentioned, in 2023, it is $3.3 billion. So absolute figure of these exports grew. And the main products that are traded that are not oil and gas are agricultural products and some chemicals, some metals, for example, steel, polymers, pipes, and also some construction material. So in order to understand the context and besides the common difficulties, the common challenges that all the hydrocarbon-rich countries face in diversifying their economy, here we also have to take into account the regional context. It is difficult for a relatively small country like Azerbaijan to find easily available markets to trade. Its main neighbors are Russia, Iran, and Turkey, and it's difficult both to export there and also to compete with these countries. In 2015, there was a major crisis that affected the Azerbaijan economy. And in that moment, the manat, which is the currency of the country, depreciated. Now the value is half of what it used to be before. And in that moment, in that year, several policies have been adopted in order to plan some strategy to diversify the economy. And the main directions that are being taken are renewables and connectivity. So talking about renewables and green energy, in 2020, the Renewable Energy Agency was established by the government in order to improve the commitment of the country in green energy projects. There are now several pilot projects in different regions, including Absheron, where Baku is located. There are several wind and solar power plants that have been built and that will be built also in the future. And besides this, there is also the project of the Green Corridor, which is a joint project of Azerbaijan together with Georgia, Hungary, and Romania, which was initiated in 2022. And it consists in a submarine cable line for renewable energy transfer from Azerbaijan to Europe through the Black Sea. So these steps contribute to reduce a bit the reliance of the country on hydrocarbons and also to differentiate the economy. And as I mentioned, the other direction that the country have been taking is that of connectivity. Azerbaijan is trying to promote the project of the Middle Corridor, which is a transport system that connects China to Europe through Central Asia, specifically through Kazakhstan and the Caspian Sea, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and there either from Black Sea or Turkey to Europe. And so many investments are being made in this sector. So yes, these are the two main directions that the diversification process have been undertaken, but there is still a long way to go in order to reach a real economic diversification.
Thanks first for your answer, also the data and the figures that you provide us. It's also interesting that you should know that in 2015, I visited Baku, Azerbaijan. I don't remember it was in October or November of the year, but it was interesting because at that time, because of the oil crisis, energy crisis, the local newspapers, local media agencies were, discussing the problems with the pension fund, with also how the government could face these, the problem, the economic crisis, and thanks to your words and your explanation, I could also think about that time and also my experience that I had in Azerbaijan, in Baku, also the words of some of the people that I met who explained me the strategy of diversification. And, we can say that even though, as you mentioned, the level of diversification is not like the highest as possible, but at least the figures shows us that there is a progress, there is an increase, and at one point, Azerbaijan should reach probably the good status of economic diversification. And talk about economic diversification, we should also talk about investment opportunities. So my question is, well, what are the main investment opportunities in the country? And apart from, of course, oil and gas sector, if you could mention us some main sector which sectors which are attracting foreign direct investments and where there are good opportunities for foreign investors.
So oil and gas obviously take the highest share of foreign direct investments, but the country has set some top priorities for investments in other sectors, which are agriculture, transportation, tourism, information communication technology. There are two main trends that I have been observing, and I think they're interesting in this regard. First of all, the foreign direct investments in green energy sector. There are several companies from Saudi Arabia and from also the Emirates that are currently having projects of solar and wind power plants. For example, Masdar and also Aqua Power are present here. The same can be said about the Chinese company Gejuba Group overseas. And there are also some projects that have been developing by Total Energies and also by Nobel on green energy projects in Nakhchivan. In Nakhchivan, there are also some Chinese companies working on the same type of projects. BP is having some projects on a solar plant called Shafag. And A similar project can be this of a Chinese company that is having plans to open facilities in Sumgait to produce electromobiles. And there is also an Italian company which has signed important deal with Hazel Energy on the supply of turbines for the Mingechpir power plant, which is the biggest water reservoir of Azerbaijan. And parallel to this, the other trend is the plan for the free economic zone in Alat. Alat is a port of Baku, is one of the main logistical points of the Middle Corridor. It is very important because it connects the route to Kazakhstan, to the port of Alat in Kazakhstan. And yes, there is an attempt at liberalizing a bit the economy in that part with the opening of a free economic zone. For now, it's a project, it's not operative yet. There are also plans to open an airport in order to facilitate the visits of investors to the area. So yes, I would say that these are currently the two main sectors where it is possible to have foreign direct investments.
Thanks for your answer. So we have our last questions regarding more about geopolitics, but also about economy and economic strategies. So if we look at Baku's foreign policy, how is Azerbaijan developing its relation in the Caspian Sea region and Central Asia?
So Azerbaijan usually has a foreign policy of equidistance, meaning that it tries to balance between Russia and the EU. However, in the past few years, and specifically this year, we can observe that Central Asia is becoming a foreign policy priority for Azerbaijan. Recently, there was the re-election of Aliyev, and on his inaugurational speech, he stated that our family is a Turkish word. And this shows the direction that the foreign policy agenda is having now and also in the future years. Central Asia is becoming increasingly relevant, not only because of its richness in hydrocarbons and also rare materials, but also because of a series of geopolitical events that involve the region. For example, the proximity that the region has to Afghanistan was relevant when there was the return of Taliban to Afghanistan. And after the invasion of Ukraine, there are also several European countries that started to approach the region more. For example, David Cameron in these days is in Central Asia. Macron visited the region in November. The German president Steinmeier was there in June. Sergio Mattarella, the Italian president, visited Uzbekistan in November. It was a historical visit. So there is a renewed interest, and Azerbaijan is trying to position itself as a gateway to the region. And we can expect that this engagement will act together with Turkey as a tandem. Turkey has also a lot of interest in the region, and it has signed different military agreements with Uzbekistan, with Kazakhstan. It also sells drones to Kyrgyzstan. And just to provide some context, Turkey and Azerbaijan are part of the organization Turkish State, together with Central Asia, so there are several shared interests. So that's why we can expect that there will be more regional cooperation in this way. And also, recently, Azerbaijan joined a joint military exercise called the Unity 2024 with all the STAN countries except for Turkmenistan. And here, the Middle Corridor again plays a key role in this engagement. And there are several developments that I think are quite relevant. First of all, there was a meeting in Xi'an in China with the Central Asian leaders, together with Xi Jinping. And on this occasion, Xi Jinping stated that the Middle Corridor is important for China. This was an unprecedented statement by his side, because before there was not a Chinese interest in this infrastructural system, because the Russian route was the preferred one to transport goods from China to the EU. But now, with the current geopolitical context, the Middle Corridor is gaining importance, and the Chinese government recognized this importance and stated their interest. This, together with the recent decision of the EU to allocate 10 billion euros for the development of infrastructure in the Middle Corridor, will also contribute to to enhance development of the corridor, and also more connection between Azerbaijan and Central Asia. There are also three other events. The first is that Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Kazakhstan established a joint venture on logistics to provide common tariffs and regulations on the Middle Corridor, and so cargoes can go more smoothly. This is very important because it's one of the main problematics of the Middle Corridor. There are different countries with different regulations, different customs system, and all of these contribute to slowing down the process of transportation. Secondly,
Interesting.
yes, the second phase of Alat Port has been completed, and so the capacity has been increased. The current capacity now amounts to 500,000 TEU containers. And finally, Azerbaijan has allocated $10 million to upgrade the capacity of the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway from 1 million tons to 5 million tons. So yes, there have been all these developments, and so we can expect that the engagement of Azerbaijan with Central Asia will increase more and more.
Thanks, Simona. Really interesting what you said, also what you share with us, and I believe that regional cooperation in Central Asia and between also the Caspian Sea countries will increase, and probably you mentioned several challenges like regulations also to adapt to the transport system, and we can add, because especially Asia, as you know, we consider also the geopolitical risk. We can add also, unfortunately, now the situation with some Central Asian countries related to security and to the threat of, some terrorist groups. But apart from this, it will be really interesting in the near future to check, to monitor this cooperation between Azerbaijan and Central Asian countries, particularly with Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan. So we are at the end of this episode of Geopolitical Report podcast. First of all, thanks, Simona, to be with us and to share your expertise. Thanks.
Thank you.
And so we can just say goodbye to our listener followers and see you the next time to Geopolitical Report podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.